Hi, this is Kylie with Fem and Flow. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, I wanted to talk more about the Schumann resonance, what it measures, what it means, and how we are part of this. In a way, indirectly, we are the Schumann resonance as well, but I'll get more into all of this good information. On a high level, the Schumann resonance is measuring this energy that's coming into Earth's atmosphere. And when you see it going off the charts, and when people are talking about it on TikTok and showing this chart going crazy, that's because a lot of high frequency gamma rays are coming in, and those gamma rays will help raise the collective's consciousness and aid in Earth's ascension. And I'll get more into that, but this is the high level view. Okay, let's get a little more specific. So, photons are particles of light that vibrate with frequency waves, which carry the full spectrum of electromagnetic radiation from extremely low frequency to high frequency gamma rays. An unusually large amount of high frequency photons are coming into our solar system. The Schumann resonance is measuring all of the electromagnetic radiation of energy coming in. And we can see in the Schumann resonance chart there is tons of high frequency energy coming in recently, a lot in the last 2 years. This next part is from the book The Alchemy of the Nine Dimensions by Barbara Hanclau. She says, as of early 2003, astronomers have determined that high intensity gamma waves come from hypernovas, extremely large supernovas. According to quantum mechanics, photons split into pairs and travel independently in the universe, yet they are still able to communicate no matter how far apart they move. Photons are conscious in some way. This awakening by high energy gamma waves must be intensifying the frequency ranges in our minds. Okay, so she mentioned that according to quantum mechanics, photons split into pairs and travel independently in the universe, yet are still able to communicate no matter how far apart they move. And she also mentioned that photons are conscious in some way. I'm wondering if our consciousness is photons. That would mean our consciousness is made up of light and comes from the full spectrum of electromagnetic radiation from extremely low frequency waves to high frequency gamma waves. This idea really seems to align with my last podcast about how I talked about how quantum physics explains how we create our own reality and the science and the physics behind manifestation. So, how do you feel about this next statement? What if our consciousness is our soul and our soul is made up of photons? Okay, now think about this. So, I just said, what if our consciousness is photons and photons are made up of light? That would mean our consciousness is made up of light. And I talked about in my last podcast how the eighth dimension is God, the divine mind, pure source energy, and that is light. And the whole universe is propagated light. So this all relates and all comes back to our consciousness being pure light, being photons, and coming directly from light, which is God, the divine mind, which is pure source energy. It all is related. And that's what our consciousness is. But I do think aside from photons, there is a God particle that scientists won't be able to figure out. It's God, it's the great mystery, it's beyond divine. And I think that is something that scientists just won't be able to figure out. It's unexplainable. It's God. But that was a little tangent. Now we'll get back to photons and the Schumann resonance. Photons are in our electromagnetic field, our toroidal flow of energy that we use to create our reality. It's specifically the photon or the soul particle that is carrying the emotional frequency that radiates into the quantum field and causes that wave out in the quantum to change into a particle of the same vibration. And then that is pulled back down by our torrential flow of energy that is then created in our reality. Okay, so pause for a moment. If photons are our soul's consciousness or a soul particle, and they can be split and can travel independently in the universe, yet are still able to communicate no matter how far apart they move, this explains the quantum physics behind the idea of twin flames or a soul that splits in two. And this also goes along with the idea of our higher selves, how we have a full soul blueprint and full expression of ourself still up in what we call heaven or the spirit realm, and they're guiding us. And why is this so important that we have part of ourself, our full energetic expression, still in the spirit world guiding us? Because of this dark global elite, this false matrix, we are literally here to infiltrate from the inside and create change. The global elite wants us to sit back, wait, obey, and believe that a savior is coming to rescue us. But the Bible has misinterpreted this, and it's been done on purpose to control us. But like I've mentioned before, we really need to embody Christ consciousness. Tangent, I stopped from another podcast, came back to this because I just had an aha moment. So I talked about how photons are light. Light is the eighth dimension. God, the divine mind, pure source energy. That is all light. That's the eighth dimension. And I talked about how our consciousness could be made up of photons. That's what I'm thinking. And then I said we could call photons the soul particle. And then I talked about how photons can split and they can go vast, vast distances in the universe and still be connected. And that is called quantum entanglement. And that explains how we could have twin flames, which are split souls. And that could explain how we have a higher self that resonates with the 5 through 9D energies, which we archetypally call heaven. And I just connected it. So God is made up of God particle and photons. And the God particle part is totally divine, and we can't explain it. But the photon part, we have photons. That's our soul particle. That's our consciousness. And photons can split. God is internal. God is inside us because we are split photons from God, from source energy. And maybe this photon connection, because we are split photons that make up God energy, that's why we have this divine connection to God, to source energy. And it feels like this omnipotent energy and this omnipotent love. And it's really, really powerful. And God is divine. God is God. God is the great mystery. And God is made up of the God particle that we don't understand and we don't know exactly what that is. God's made up of that, but we aren't made up of the God particle, but we are made up of the photons that are split from God source energy. And that's why people talk about how we are fractals of God. And I talk a lot about how we have an electromagnetic body, and all of everything can be explained with energetics, but we need our body to be healthy and have that healthy, strong electrical charge So our photons are basically acting correctly, and they are connecting with quantum entanglement to the eighth dimension, connecting to God, to source energy. So that's why I talk about all this stuff that is really rooted in reality and talks a lot about the health of our body, the health of this physical vessel. We really need to keep our body healthy so we have this strong electromagnetic charge. And in that way, we connect to this amazing divine God energy. That was an amazing aha moment, and I had to come back and add that. But now I'll get back to the Schumann resonance and how it's measuring all of this amazing energy that's coming into our solar system and how we need to embody that. It's up to us, it's up to humanity to be able to embody this high frequency energy of love and gratitude. So when we see on the Schumann resonance that it's going off the charts, it's going nuts, and that means high frequency gamma rays are coming into our atmosphere. We need to all be able to embody that high frequency and anchor it in. So, how do we do that? First, we need to make sure we clear any generational trauma, clear any negative emotions we have. We need to recognize triggers and clear that. And we just need to, in general, release any density that we have. And it's a lot easier to do than we think. We do not need years of therapy. It honestly can be as simple as journaling about an emotion and connecting the dots of where that might stem from, why you might feel that way, and what you can do to move on. Acknowledging it is really, really powerful. And then once you acknowledge it, you can understand why you might feel that way and either forgive others or forgive yourself. Never hold on to any of that guilt. Guilt is the basis of manipulation. Let go of any low vibration emotions like guilt or fear. Let it all go. And I talk about this a lot. Once you do shadow work and recognize a pattern or recognize a problem, you really truly need to fully let it go. Don't make it part of your story. Don't hold on to that at all. Let it go. And then once we let that go, we have all of this space to then be able to embody and step into these higher frequency emotions. And I talk about it a lot, but it's our emotions that hold a unique frequency. If you look at the Hawkins map of consciousness, it talks about all of the different frequencies these emotions hold, and it shows which are the high vibration or high frequency emotions, which you could probably guess is love, gratitude, peace, enlightenment. So that's what we really need to be looking for and what we really need to be embodying. And this is exactly how we create our own reality. It's our emotion that holds a frequency that we put out with our electromagnetic body via our toroidal flow of energy. That frequency goes out into the quantum, and like attracts like, a wave of energy, string theory, our emotional frequency we're sending out goes to that wave, changes the wave of energy into a particle. Our toroidal flow of energy pulls that back into our reality, and that's how we create our own reality. So when we have the space that we let go of all this density, and we see via the Schumann resonance that all of this high frequency energy gamma waves are coming in, we are the ones who need to put out those emotional frequencies of love and gratitude so that attracts and we pull that into our reality. And that's reflected not only on an individual level, but a collective level. So if you saw my recent TikTok post, I've been talking about how we have these times of really high frequency energy, and people call that energy portals. And that's when we're going to be basically blasted with these high frequency gamma waves. So it's really important before that time period that we really work on releasing any density, releasing any triggers, just getting in a high vibe spot. So when we go into that time of high frequency energy or energy portal, we are there to do what we're here to do, anchor that energy in and make a huge change for humanity. So, this photon band I talked about is in the Milky Way galaxy, and Earth is in a part of the solar system where we are going through this photon band. So, we have so many opportunities in current times, in recent times, where we will be able to anchor and harness this high frequency energy. So, it's more important than ever to really do that work on yourself. Release any negative emotions and make space for all of this beautiful energy of love and gratitude to come in. And in the same way that we put out an emotional frequency, and that's how we create our reality by that energy being pulled in, that's exactly how we anchor this high frequency gamma ray in also. We need to be putting out that high vibe emotional frequency because that will attract it and pull it back in via our toroidal flow of energy. So, really just focus on living in love and gratitude and just living in those high vibe emotions. You probably know personally what you do to get into this mindset and get into this vibe, but exactly just do that. For example, I love to go walk out in nature and be mindful and really feel gratitude in my heart for all of the plants and trees and how beautiful nature is. That really gets me in a huge spot of gratitude. And it's to a level where I literally feel my heart expanding and my heart feels so magnetic. And I know that's an energy thing. I'm pulling that in. I'm radiating it out, but it's also pulling that back in into my reality. I also love being around my dogs and my husband. Just be around people that you really love and care for. And another thing that is great is doing a gratitude journal. And while you write down all the things you're thankful for, stop and really think about it and embody that feeling of love and gratitude. You will truly feel it in your heart. You will truly feel your heart expanding with this amazing high frequency emotional feeling. And it will feel like your heart just wants to explode and expand, and it feels magnetic and it's beautiful. So, anything like this, you know yourself what gets you in that heart expanded place of love and gratitude. Just focus on doing this. This not only helps you personally, but it helps all of humanity. Like I mentioned, the false matrix and this global elite only has power because they are manipulating us to use our own divinity and our own power to create the reality they desire. We need to wake up to this fact, wake up to how reality works, understand the physics behind it, and take our power back and start creating the world we want. And this false matrix also relies on cutting us off from the fifth through ninth dimensional energies. So go listen to my different podcasts that have this as the topic and start doing those things that will anchor in those multi-dimensional energies. And if you go listen, you'll realize these are super realistic things that we actually do every day, but this global elite has just manipulated it. So go listen to that and start actively doing these things to pull that energy in. One thing I've actively started doing is getting more into fitness and standing at my desk more and also just walking outdoors more. I used to be so consistent with my workouts, and for some reason this year I just failed to be consistent and I've noticed a change. And in one of my last podcast episodes, I talk about how the sixth dimension is sacred geometry. And sacred geometry rules our movement in this reality, and it rules our physical form of our body. And there is an ideal sacred geometry of our body. And when we're aligned with that ideal sacred geometry, we are literally like towers or beacons pulling in 6D energy. So, one thing I'm doing is I'm moving more, I'm getting my body back in shape, and I'm doing those things to harness in that energy. And it's twofold because not only does physical movement, because how we're moving our sacred vessel, our body, it's all aligned with sacred geometry. So when we are moving our body in those ways, it's harnessing 6D energy. And as 6D energy goes through us, through our muscles and our body, that is building muscle, eating up fat. And that doing those things will actually get our body more in alignment with the ideal sacred geometry of our body. So it all just flows and it all makes sense. That's one thing I've really focused on doing recently. And I think it's really important. And I also know how hard it is to establish that in your routine if you have a family and you work full time. You know, our society, this global elite, has really kept us busy and distracted for a reason. So we need to wake up to this and really start putting ourselves first. And really, the ways that put ourselves first also aligns with the ways that will pull in 5 through 9D energy. It's literally all connected. And go listen to my other podcast episodes on this if this is interesting to you. This is a shorter episode, but I thought it was really interesting content and I wanted to share. In summary, we can look at the Schumann Resonance and see all of the energy coming into Earth's atmosphere. And when we do inner work and we get rid of the density in our body and get rid of any triggers and negativity, we have so much space to then anchor in and embody these high frequency energies that are coming in. And when we embody that, we anchor that high frequency energy in, and it helps us, and we interact with others in our community and in the world, and it really helps them as well. It has a domino effect. So, really do the work on yourself and be a light to others in the world. Really do that, embody love, embody gratitude, and that will make a huge, huge change. Just love yourself, love others, and I love you. So, have a great day. I hope this was all helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe and follow my podcast, and you can also follow me on TikTok. Have a great day.